150th anniversary of the game to talk about. I think it's something that we've kind of touched on before, and it's not something that's going to go away if we're going to continue to be a college football podcast eventually. Well, eventually we're going to learn about Washington. Eventually more things will probably come out about our own team. I think that this is the chickens on this issue might come to roost in Nebraska. So without any further prologue, I want to have a conversation, and I think Justin's going to kind of play devil's advocate about how college football affects the academic institutions in America, and the way that going to school there works, and the kind of sacrifices we make to continue this tradition that we love. And I want to start off by saying, and this might undermine my argument, I love college football, and I am one of the people, in addition with a lot of folks, who I hold my nose and do not pay attention to how the sausage gets made, right? But having done some more reading this year, having done some more thinking, having thought about it more and more as we have disciplinary issues here in Nebraska, there are so many things in college football that we can all recognize as injustices.
Yes.
It is not fair that you can get your scholarship stripped from you if you get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It is simply not fair that they are held basically, in effect, to lower academic standards than the rest of the university. If not in name, as it is, the University of Nebraska requires a lower ACT score for acceptance for athletes. I'm pretty sure that this is still true. I know it was true in the past. But I know that there are schools that will lower their entrance requirements for athletes. And I believe that someone can fact check me on this. And if I'm wrong, you can cut it. But I think that used to be Nebraska. But I guess what I'm saying is there are so many ways that we could drastically improve the way that college football functions in the United States, and we simply choose not.
Look at this.
Yeah, I think you showed me this.
Texas football on social media posted this graphic that had a Texas football player in the background and says, "Success on the field, 2.89, highest semester GPA in team history."
I don't want to spit at anybody for being incapable of getting, stellar grades.
Yeah, college is not for everybody. It has no barometer on how smart you are, but
we are. I take issue with the fact that it has a barometer on. I think it definitely has a barometer on overall intelligence. Like, you can't be totally stupid and not have money at the same time and get through college.
Okay.
Like, you either need to be smart, have money, or have athletic ability in our current system. What I don't understand is why we can't seem to find ways that, like, the state of Nebraska can have their football team that can be nominally tied to university, and we just do away with academic requirements.
So you don't think these guys should be, made to go to school?
Do you think that many of them are really... I don't know, maybe I believe that, we shouldn't give academic scholarships for it. Maybe at the end of the day, that's that.
Okay.
Or that you should have to hit a fairly decent level of, that no one should let you have these end-around ways to go through JUCO to get back, right? Shouldn't there be some integrity in, I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do see what you're saying. There are players who this is their only way that they would get into a college, and that's it for a number of recruits, basically. So I don't feel that sort of denying them the opportunity to, I guess, learn more and just find something else that they want to do, because, again, less than 1%, significantly less than 1% of these people will go pro in their field.
No, absolutely.
So there needs to be something that says, hey, while I get that we really want you to play football here, I more importantly, I want you to leave with a path of what you want to do in life. And I hope to be a good leader as a football coach.
Yes, these are all things that we, at least on a performative level, profess, right?
Mm-hmm.
The two issues here. One is whether or not you really think that functions. Because I would be surprised if at most universities, most coaching staffs give a genuine damn whether or not their kids do well. Obviously, they probably care about these kids. Obviously, they probably want them to, like, move forward and be somewhat successful. But, like, there's no way to do this in one single expose, which is why it hasn't been done.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, there's grade fixing going on in the NCAA.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
North Carolina straight up made fake classes for their athletes to attend, and they were barely punished for it because North Carolina is like the hugest brand in college basketball.
Well, them and Duke.
But if you had Duke without Carolina,
right? Yeah,
that would ruin the fun of
that's
Duke.
The biggest.
And Kansas is under investigation for very similar things.
Right.
And that's just the basketball side of the coin.
Right. Creighton's been under investigation as far as basketball goes. And basketball is the sport they're willing to go after more.
Yes.
Because it's worth less money.
It's worth less money. And, you know, if you've ever read about, like, the AAU pipeline, where like, literal kids basically, through the AAU, sign themselves up for a shoe company to get recruited by when it comes to colleges. So these colleges are going after kids, like, who are literally kids, not even teens at some points. Mm-hmm. So this is such a huge issue that goes down to that goes down way further than people realize. So I guess if you want to crack down on everything, you know, there would be, you know, no sport if they truly believe what they were saying. So I think if you just make sure that these kids, like, go to class and have some sort of path that they don't go pro, I think that is why the college part should be necessary is for college athletics. Because if we just wanted to make a truly amateur, you know, football, basketball, like baseball, not baseball because baseball has a amateur system that's thriving. Yeah, so just basketball. If we truly wanted to have those amateur leagues, I still think more student athletes would want to play college football instead of, you know, the amateur system.
I think that's
and
fair.
Work their way up because of this opportunity.
But here's my thing. There are a bunch of kids who are smarter than the average NCAA football player that still don't get to go to college because we're allocating huge amounts of, I mean, I don't even know between, it's not even quantifiable, between all of the scholarship money that we give to athletes across the nation, and then all of the, you know, under the table stuff, which is just not quantifiable. If football programs didn't exist, how much more state money is there floating around? And even down to the coaching staff. You know, the thing that kind of prompted this conversation for me is I saw a statistic that said in 31 of 50 states, the highest paid state employee out of taxpayer money, mind you, is the football coach.
And I'd say there are at least 3 of those states, if not more, whose fired football coaches would also be the top paid public employee.
Probably 1 and 2, and we're probably one of them.
We're one of them. I know for sure Arkansas is one of them now because they're paying 2 coaches right now, and Florida will probably be one of them thanks to Willie Taggart. Yeah. So, yeah, but it makes so much sense as to why they are because of just the insane amount of money that this college football sport is worth at that.
Okay, but here's the thing. Where does that money go? Has the football team ever built you a chemistry lab? It goes back into the football team, right? All of that money that comes out of football, supposedly the profit that's made, goes back into football to continue ramping up. Of course teams make profit when they're playing well. Of course Nebraska profits all the time because we don't give a damn because we're sadists.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I would say the flip side of that, I guess counter argument to that is, I guess for the bigger schools you could say it works like that, but for a smaller school, like take VCU for example, Virginia Commonwealth, 2011 they had an absurd Final Four run, enrollment skyrocketed, and then like the institution, you know, gained more prestige due to just people being aware that this university exists.
I feel the same way about Wichita State.
Yes.
Did you
that too.
know who the hell the Shockers were until they were getting basketball? But here's the thing. I'm totally willing, wheat joke impending, to throw away the wheat with the chaff here because there is so little wheat. The success stories out there are far outnumbered by the institutions like this one where football decisions affect the entire student body. You know?
But I'm willing to bet that, I guess, if you polled the student body of Nebraska, they'd honestly be okay with that because we just love it so much.
I guess that we should make all academic university decisions by public poll then, right? Justin, do you think you should have to go to class to graduate from this university?
I'm just saying that
If it were up to me, we would tear down Avery and build ourselves a new nice building right over there. But, it's not up to me. If it were up to the business school, they'd be the only thing on campus, and they'd take over all the other buildings, and each of them would be given an entire floor to make their apartment within.
Yes, but this is something that people from, I guess, all around the university have just generally come to accept is that the football team is like the head honcho of what goes around here.
Come to accept or come to like?
I guess a little bit of both. Because
it's hard to remember here, but there are students who, honest to God, do not give a damn.
I know. But I'm just saying that still, just based on the amount of alumni and students who just shove themselves in to watch a 4-8 team play football every week, I do not see how you could pull Nebraskans away from that.
And there are all kinds of upsides that we don't have time to talk about right now because of, all the good. But we talk about those upsides all the time. And something we haven't talked a lot about on this show and that we don't talk about enough in the press are the downsides of college football and college athletics in general.
Yeah.
And so I think that, end of the day, that's something that we should have more and more discussions about. And I think we'll talk about it on this podcast when news comes up like that.
Yeah.
I want to be able to talk about the sports that we have fun with, and I also want to be able to rant about, the NBA being shills for the Chinese government and the NCAA being a cartel.
And it's everywhere, man.
Yeah.
We're literally going to play a World Cup in Qatar. That's an actual thing that's going to happen.
When we get there, if we're still doing the pod, we will do an entire World Cup preview episode. And right after that is posted, we will post a separate thing telling you why ethically it is probably right to boycott this World Cup. Am I going to? I can tell you right now, no. I will probably watch less matches. I will definitely not buy any merch.
Oh, no, not. But what if the U.S.
But God damn it, it's the World Cup.
What if the U.S. has their best game?
What if any team does well that I like? What if it's an incredible soccer match? I can't pull myself away from that. The Olympics have been sketchy since forever, and we all still love the Olympics.
Yes.
So it's we'll get there when we get there. But anyway, I think that these conversations are important. So I think maybe we should post these sorts of things.
Should this be bonus?
Bonus.
So do you think our serious conversation should at the end here should be bonus coverage, or should we ride the episode out like that?
Let's call it bonus coverage from now on.
Bonus coverage? Okay.
I think that I shouldn't have to force anybody to have a bad day unless they are willing to. I want to have a fun podcast that's easy to listen to.
Yeah.
But I think it's good and important for us to cover stuff like this, so we will.
I do want to talk stuff like this. I like the serious side of sports because sports is a way you can address all these human issues in a way that people will understand. I don't feel like I need to expand on that, so I'll find another out in there. If not, then we can just use this. So that's been the show. Yeah.
Rhubarb and Ribby.
Badger.